there was this fear of COVID, not knowing what was going to happen. So even when we left, we didn't really tell people we're going to cycle around the world. All we told them was we're going to try and cycle as far as we can and see where it takes us. So that was kind of the idea. We just couldn't believe it. We're like, okay, we're here. It's actually happening.
My name's David, I'm 35, I'm a trauma and orthopaedic registrar in the NHS in England, and I've just come back from cycling around the world with my wife for 7 months.
I'm Caroline, I'm 34, I live in London, work in investment banking.
When did my passion for cycling start? From a young child, I was always on a bicycle, doing the pip around, going around with my friends. And it started from that point for me and just gradually built all the way until the time that I met Caroline.
And for me, it started when I met David, so it's a nice relay. So my passion for cycling started late, really, 2017. I was never really interested in cycling before that, and I slowly discovered it actually as part of my routine going to work. And it's David that saw me on a bike and convinced me that instead of using the public bikes, I should get my own. And for the first real ride I did, actually, it was with David on Christmas Day, and I fell off my bike, and I remember coming back, David being very worried that I hated it, and I actually absolutely was in love. I said, that was the best thing I've done in years. Let's do it again tomorrow, and that started from there.
The idea to do the trip was something for me built quite naturally. So whenever I was at university, I would go away with my best friend for a week or two, just with our bicycles, and cycle across Italy or through Spain.
As I said, I started cycling late, so I wasn't necessarily thinking of cycling around the world, but I've always been somebody who was quite risk adverse in a way, and I always admired people that went on a big adventure, whatever it was, and it really, really scared me, the idea of going on such an adventure, but at the same time it really excited me. And I think I was just looking for an excuse at some point for somebody to come to me and tell me, come on, like, make the jump and do it. And when David introduced the idea to me, I was like, this sounds absolutely brilliant, I want to be a part of this. And that's kind of how it all started, yeah.
So the thing for it, so the organisation and getting ready for the trip, you have to remember we had full-time jobs all the way until Thursday, and then we flew away on the Sunday. It was very much a case of trying to put everything together, weekends, evening, and Caroline did an amazing job finding sponsors, finding companies to work with. We had an idea of the route, but again, when we flew, the only country that was open was Canada. So we had to just know the direction, know how we wanted to go about it, but never have the certainty that everything would work as you'd planned. So getting to that first thing took a lot of organisation around it, and it was just a big relief to start, to know that you can actually get finally going.
Because we had been delaying it twice now, because of that, we had kind of renounced the idea of really trying to be meticulous about the planning, because we couldn't be prepared, because we didn't know where COVID was going to be taking us, so we didn't want to waste any more time doing route planning and applying for visa when we just didn't know. So yes, up to the point of the trip, I just drew on my own experience with ultra cycling and races I had done before, and I used the equipment that I used in those races on the trip, which actually in some cases didn't work really well, which was a bad idea, but you learn as you go. I think for some of the stuff we had that we didn't use, we quickly got rid of them, like send them back. Like we had this hope, because when you see people bikepacking, they look like they have so much time in the evening, but then we didn't realize that it was not going to be the case for us because we were doing too many kilometers. So we had like a little boombox, we had stuff like that was gone. And after 2 weeks in Canada, that was gone. I think for me, I would have taken a thicker sleeping bag, because my sleeping bag was a sleeping bag you take for ultra races, and it's fine for like a week, but I was surprised how cold I got that night. And especially Canada, that was a huge mistake. So it was nice because it was tiny and it was light, but I was really jealous of his sleeping bag, which was really, really big and comfortable. So
We shared.
No, we didn't. That was my biggest regret, was the sleeping bag, I think.
I think we took way too much to begin with, like Caroline says, but we just got it super efficient by the end. And it's amazing how little you need to live.
Yeah, by the end we were really bare minimum. Didn't have anything that we didn't need anymore. And I think, yeah, definitely a relief just to be able to leave, and we couldn't believe, like, oh my God, we're here, it has happened. And in the sheds where we
Mate, I'm not sure we're gonna make it around the world.
my legs are killing me.
Why are you wearing a hat inside?
Actually, we had a delay on a flight and we started a day late because we had to stay an extra day in Vancouver, like the very start. But when we finally pushed the first pedal up in the Yukon and it was snowing, we just couldn't believe it. We were like, okay, we're here. It's actually happening. So yeah, but definitely we couldn't, there was this fear of COVID, not knowing what was going to happen. So even when we left, we didn't really tell people we're going to cycle around the world. All we told them was we're going to try and cycle as far as we can and see where it takes us. That was kind of the idea, yeah. So we were very unprepared for Africa. We didn't realize that the summer season was a wet season there, which is like stupid. And we thought, okay, if it rains, it's okay, but we didn't know that they don't have a monsoon, but it was like close. And in Zambia, when it was raining, it was really bad. And we really thought, it was going to be really warm. I mean, it's Africa, so you go and you think, okay, it's summertime in Africa, it can't be that cold. But actually, we were on this road in Zambia, there was a lot of wind and so much rain. And we just had a puncture, and honestly, it was the lowest point ever. And it was just the start of the day, and we had something like 250 km to do that day. It was just a really long day. And we were just absolutely desperate and feeling very lonely. And it was a really dangerous road, like no shoulder, trucks coming. Headwind and 100% rain all day. And it's cold. It's like 15 degrees. I mean, it's not that cold, but in the rain you do get cold. So it's just a bit shit. Just for once, I would like a day of sun and tailwind or no wind. And of course, it's not like luxury. There's no good places to sleep. It's always wet. My bum is super itchy now.
If you want to get anything done quickly ever in your life, don't come here.
And it's a sunny day in Africa.
Gotta put sun cream on.
It's alright, there's only 140 kilometers to go.
Yeah.
We're also exposed because the wind is going this way.
You must have a jacket.
Can you open pull my sleeve, you'll see what happens. See? That's why, no, look, you're not doing it well. Like, you have to reverse it, it's full of water. That's what happens when you wear jackets that are too big for you. Terrible. And we were sitting kind of the side of the road, and we see this truck stopping there, and this guy coming out, and he's just telling us, guys, you look so cool, why don't you come in the truck with me? And he actually made us tea and little toast inside his truck, and we sat with him in the truck, and he was this guy from, where was he from? I think he was
John the trucker from Botswana. I think he was from.
He was from Botswana, and so it was an amazing time. Just I was so tired. Your emotion on this kind of trip, because you're so tired all the time, they go very, very easily. So as soon as somebody's nice to you, you start crying. And I was like, this is so nice, thank you so much. I think it was Peter. Peter
Peter Strucker, yeah.
Yeah, Peter. So we call it Sim Peter for the rest of the trip. Yeah, it was really nice. That was a good one.
Yeah. There's so many people you meet on the trip that have such generosity and help. In Zambia, we were stuck trying to get inner tubes for the bicycle, and we went maybe 2,000 kilometers from Windhoek to Zambia, and we'd ran out of inner tubes. But the local person who was one of the village chiefs called around his friends and arranged to find inner tubes.
If you take my number and call me, I can always send you stuff. By bus all the way up to where you are. Yeah. Can you hear me?
And he even said, you guys can carry on riding because we know you have time schedule. I will give it to truckers who will come past you. They will look for you. And even 150, 200 kilometers later, people bring you a parcel that you need, which was things like that really help you and give you confidence in people and in humankind.
At a cursory glance, you wouldn't notice the difference between me and the local. I love it. I've blended right. I am one of them. This is so much better than carrying it.
In Bolivia, we had a big problem with the border, which forced us to actually go to another border point because the specific border point we wanted to go to was closed due to COVID for tourists. And so that meant that COVID tests we had done in, what was the place? Or something. Anyway, we had done a COVID test like 72 hours before, was expiring because we were going to cross an extra day. So we needed to find a place to do a COVID test on a Saturday evening somewhere in Bolivia and not speaking Spanish. We are on our way to go cross the border and we are very nervous. Wish us luck. And I mean, it's hard enough anywhere, you know, in Europe. So if it's in Bolivia and it's in a place where you don't speak the language, it was really difficult. And we actually found like a local clinic, and the doctor there called a daughter in Germany who spoke English, so that she could translate everything to her mother, and her mother could find somebody that could do the test for us. And she actually found somebody, and then they opened the clinic just for us, like the testing center, and they did it. It was very expensive, but still it was definitely worth it. Yeah. Very, very kind people. And thanks to that, we could continue to Argentina. So that was great.
Did we feel any fear? I think, remarkably, considering we traveled around the world, the fear was maybe 0.1%. Maybe in some big cities at certain times, you feel it. But you know, you feel that any city and any place you go to. So some fear on the road, particularly with heavy traffic, some points.
Yeah, I don't think that there was no places where I felt unsafe in terms of, you know, people being around, looking at the bike, wanting to take stuff. I didn't feel it at any point. I think the only places where some countries have a bit less of a culture when it comes to cyclists, and maybe some drivers would have a bit more animosity and look out less for cyclists, let's say that. So that would be like the scary parts at night as well, you know, sometimes. And it's not even Africa at night. We had some sketchy moments, but it's just because the quality of the road was so poor. I don't think it came from any animosity from any of the drivers. It was just really, really bad.
Yeah, not fear from people, but I had a massive fear of the desert.
You ready?
I need a rest day, I think.
See if we have enough water. It's Namibia. We're going to...
The last point of civilization.
Yeah, it's 150k with literally nothing. No, 150k with, there's Grenoble. But literally nothing, not like a lay-by stop, not a petrol station. Then we're 30k past it. But I'm filling my pants today in anticipation, my bib shorts. I filled them at the border yesterday.
I've done once 100 miles in the UK with
Carla, you're climbing 1,400 meters at 38 degrees, 450k. I don't know, it might be fine. I hope it's fine. But
I think we're going to be slower now because you took so much water. That's my idea.
I would rather be slower and hydrated.
So are you planning to shower in the desert with that water?
And then I filled my pants last night whenever I snapped the head off a screw.
Well, that's probably going to happen again with all that one.
Ever the optimist?
I don't know. I'm just not as worried.
An almost unusual fear. But when you leave South Africa into Namibia, there's nothing, not a tap, nothing for 150 kilometers to the first time. And it's maybe 35 degrees and windy and high.
35 degrees, try 48.
Or maybe it's very high. But I had
really
a
hot.
huge fear because
Yeah.
you have to carry everything, food, water, enough for 150 kilometers, and then you're not sure if they will be open. So that was quite fearful.
Yeah, and then the wildlife was scary as well. But I mean, that's like elephants and lions, and you know, when you see a pride of lion, they, even if the locals tell you, no, don't worry, they don't bother the cyclists, you're like, I'm not too sure, let's not hang out. So yeah, that was...
Him slowing down. Honestly crosses the road like someone in Hackney. Slower, slower, slower.
I mean, we definitely were a bit more resilient by the end. We did longer days, you know, in a row, and it was all right. It was a bit easier for me from the start because I was more trained doing long distances than David. I think he only told me later, but basically after the first few days in Canada, David was like, in his head, he was like, I'm not sure I can actually do this.
I was dying. Yeah.
All right. Finally in Canada. It's all right. It's not too cold, it's windy, and the snowflakes are killing my eyes. It's like sucking with a tin then.
It's not perfect. I'm going to have to tweak the invention. Look,
I want witnesses. Tell me what you just said. Tell me what you just said.
I want to go to the next town.
Yeah.
I want to find a coffee shop to sit in
Yeah.
until a hotel opens, and then go to the hotel.
Because David wants to go on holiday. David wants it to be easy and nice. He's missing nature.
No,
He wants to spend a week in a hotel and chill.
This is not that at all. The thing is, I feel the cold a lot more than you do. We had one good day, or one okay day of running. All of the rest of them have either been uphill, headwind, or wet, and quite often all of them, sometimes even freezing.
So that's that. What do you expect?
No, because the thing is, there's no need to do that. There isn't. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, you do. You need to do 200k a day. This is an ultra race. It's the same thing. That's what you do.
Smart.
He's so miserable. Look at him. So cold.
I'm so cold. Honestly.
You were stopping and Moningham gonna help, so let's get going.
I need to see how far Orford is.
It's so funny.
I need somewhere where it's dry.
Weak. You're weak. Me, I kept saying, you know, we need to push more, and it was. I think David was quite happy that we didn't for the first few months. It was kind of, we kept it 180k, 200 at the max, and I think it was easier. But yes, we have had some really, really bad days. We have never gotten proper sick, except I did in Africa. I had to take a day off because I don't know what I had. I think it was an accumulation of fatigue. I had a really bad reaction to the malaria medication that I was taking as a preventive. And I think my body just cracked, and I had to go to bed and had temperature, and I just slept until 2 the next day. It's wonderful, your headache.
With the headache, that's just what you need.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely think we got a bit more resilient, but the fatigue was always there. Even though I'm crying.
It's completely natural, don't worry. Nearly there. Okay.
Because I don't think, we met some cyclists on the road that told us, oh, you know, for us the cycling is an easy bit now, but I think when you keep on doing 250 kilometers, it never becomes really easy. I wouldn't say that. So.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Dusty Road.
That is the reason.
Yes. Yeah, we spending time alone on the trip was something that with audiobooks became quite easy because you would both tune into a book and we would also share the same book. So we would both listen to, I think one of our favorites was The Shoe Dog, the story of Nike. And you share the story and you listen to it, and then whenever you stop for food, you discuss what's happened. Oh, I didn't know this, did you realize that? That was
nice,
time
yeah.
that you would spend alone, but you'd come back together and catch up. I think it depends what you look for. So perhaps to experience all of the culture would take a year to really have a chance to have breakfast with locals, meet people. Maybe we were a little bit too quick to fully enjoy everything. But what it does mean is after 6 months you look back and you say, we've been to all of these places, we've seen all of these people, and we have memories of everything. So everyone's different, but for us, I think the speed was right. And I think
the speed was right, and despite this, the speed, I was discussing that with David the other day. You know, yes, I mean maybe if we had been slower, we would have seen more and enjoyed more and talked to more people. But the speed we had didn't prevent us from having sort of magical moment every day. That there was a few really bad days, but even then, most of the day there was this kind of magical moment in the day that will make the whole day worth it, and this is kind of like the focus point for that day. So that can be anything, that can be just a feeling you have, you're thinking and you just realize who you are and you just get really emotional, really happy, or just gorgeous landscape, or somebody being very nice to us, or you know, sometimes just something man-built like a beautiful bridge and you're like, wow, this is really awesome. So every day there was something to enjoy and to celebrate. So you can of course do like very slow backpacking, but I kind of liked as well being fast-ish. We were not that fast, but you know, being able to do 200k a day and then crossing border in one day and then everything changes, and being able to experience that while you cycle is also really great. So it's a different type of enjoyment, but it was really good.
Tell me what's happening.
I'm a bit tired.
Why are you so emotional?
I just can't believe we're here. I'm so happy.
You enjoying it?
Yeah. It's just so big. It's so nice. It's so different. Whew.
It's hard work.
It's hard work, but that's what life's made of. It's so much better than sitting at home. Makes you a better person. I love it.
Tried and count them, but by the time we arrived in the US, or just after Canada, I think we had 32.
yeah, it's just,
So we stopped counting. I think I think we had the most puncture in Canada and North America. It was because they have those huge trucks there, and so those very thin shards, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it just keeps coming. So people were very surprised. Oh, we don't get so many punctures. It's because you cycle in Europe. You don't have trucks like this there. So it was much better once we changed for thicker tires. And actually in Australia, we didn't have problems despite the trucks. But even in Australia, they didn't seem to have many punctures. In the US, for some reason, they get punctures all the time there. It's full of pieces of tires. So that would be, I don't know, probably 100 punctures. In terms of kilometers, so in the end, we did 10,250 or something like this.
yeah. So total distance is 29,000.
Sorry, 29,000, yeah.
29,250.
Yeah, 20,000. And then in terms of total kilometers, it depends how you look at it. Like if you look just one direction with the airplane, then it's something like 75,000 kilometers. But if you look at actually all we had to do in order to make it work with COVID is something like, I think, 100,000 kilometers. And then in terms of, so we tried to do a rough approximation. Like if you consider the moving time every day was around 10 hours, probably more like 8 hours in the cell, but it's 10 hours average. And we, out of 205 days, we cycled 176, I think. So that would be, 1,760 hours total, yeah. So, and I think, how many meters did I say we climbed? Like something like 150,000 meters or something like this. Yeah, it was some good days of climbing on the trip. That was good.
Absolutely, and so travelling by bike when we come back is something that we're very keen to keep hold of, because cycling around the world, you realise that bikes are amazing. You can go so many places, you can do so much. And then I did some calculations where it would take me exactly the same time to cycle to work as drive to work, but it would save petrol, it would mean that I'm not on the roads in a car, and it would mean I'd have exercise for maybe 10 or 12 hours a week. So we're working very hard to make it completely seamless, so all of the travel is by bicycle for these kind of commuting journeys.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been the case. Like, I used to either run to work or cycle to work, and I just wouldn't have it any other way. I love it, whether it rains or anything, I don't mind. People ask me always, but you live in London, isn't it a problem? I said, no, it's fine. You know, I don't mind at all. It's actually really nice. You're outside, you enjoy the day. It's a nice break actually from going to work and to back home. I like it. And yeah, I agree as well. It's kind of a way to have exercise. Sometimes you don't have time, so it's good. But yeah, for me, it's even before work. I always meet my friends for a ride before work, and then I go into work with my bike. And yeah, I don't know how people do it not to cycle to work. I would say I will really miss it. I think it's like my criteria. At work, you need to have a shower at work so I can cycle in.
I think there's no question that the bike is the best way. And you look back when you're a child, when anybody gets on a bike to begin with, there's just this amazing joy and happiness. And if you can keep that and keep people active and healthy on it, it's the best way, we know. And I think as time goes on in society, we'll see a bigger push in so many different countries. In London, there's a big push already and lots of people cycle. One thing is I think people really need to be careful, because it's really good, but you have to be safe when you ride as well. But things just keep getting better and better. We see so many cycle paths as we travel around the world, and yeah, there's good work happening, but more needs to be done to help everybody get on a bike who's able to.
And I think, yeah, it's definitely better for the environment and just generally for public health, you know. There's a lot of question about mental health nowadays, and you know, about people staying fit and staying mentally and physically fit. And I can say for certain that for me, being able to go for a bike ride, I feel mentally and physically so much better as well. So that's also very important. And I think there's a lot to learn from all the countries we have visited. We've seen some countries where definitely you can feel there's a bigger culture for cycling, and you can really see even a difference with people that are driving. I mean, Spain was absolutely amazing. The drivers in Spain to just give you space. And actually, you know, we got a fine because we were listening to music on the bikes, but fair enough, you know, they make it very, very safe for everyone, and they make sure that it's a good environment. Everybody respect the way things work and the rules of the road, and it's great. So I think there's a lot to learn from them, and definitely, hopefully, more cyclists in the future. Yeah. All right.
Brilliant, superb.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Hello, hello.
Congrats.
Hey man, how's it going? You alright? Good to see you, good to see you. Good to see you. You alright?
Hello. Wow, what a journey.
Yeah, it's been intense. It's been a bit too fast for me today, I think. But like,
3, 2, 1, cheese. Oh, come on, you can do better than that, guys.
Fantastic. Right, you guys all
give me a kiss.
No, I met them about halfway, so camera reception.
It's a camera.